I never imagined I'd see a wedding cake drifting past my canoe, especially not one towering 5 tiers high, with a plastic bride clutching a sparkler, wobbling like she was about to take a dive. But there it was, floating serenely in the middle of Lake Vyew, trailed by a soggy buffet table and two bridesmaids clutching helium balloons like life rafts. The chaos came from my DocMe private doc, which someone had decided to borrow without so much as a text. That someone was Lisa. Lisa wasn't just any neighbor. She was the self-crowned empress of the Lake Vyew Homeowners Association, a walking, talking hurricane of hairspray and entitlement who quoted bylaws like scripture and brandished glossy newsletters like swords. She had an opinion on every fence post, every lawn ornament, and every kid's lemonade stand in our quiet subby VY shown. But my land, my doc, that was supposed to be off limits. Or so I thought. It all started on a peaceful Wednesday morning, sun glinting off the lake, coffee steaming in my hand, and my dog, Rusty, sniffing at reeds by the water's edge. Then I spotted them, two guys in crisp polo shirts erecting a canopy on my dock. At first, I figured they were lost, maybe hired by one of the other lakefront folks. But as I strolled over, they flashed me a corporate grin and handed me a clipboard. Lake Vyew Community Gala, approved for dock event. It read, signed with a flourish. Saw Lisa, saw. I blinked at the paper, then at my dock, then back at the paper. This is my property, I said, keeping my tone even. Not HOA land. There's been a mistake. They shrugged, muttered something about being done soon, and went back to rolling out a white carpet over the wooden planks. 15 minutes later, Lisa power walked up the path, sunglasses gleaming, clipboard bigger than her ego. She greeted me like I was a pesky delivery guy, while VYing at the dock as if she'd just bought it. Why are you setting up on my land? I asked point blank. She flashed a sugary smile and said the HOA needed a scenic venue for their Hearts of Harmony fundraiser. When I said no, she tilted her head, puzzled why I dare object to such a noble cause. Then she thrust an email printout at me, no mention of my name, no permission, just her own typed assurances. I told her she couldn't use the dock. She said the flyers were already out. It'd be awfully selfish to ruin a charity for sick kittens, she added, voice dripping with guilt. I stood there, dumbfounded, as folding chairs paraded past me like an army of petty vengeance. I could have called the cops. I could have chained the dock shut. But then I remembered something. Back in my Navy days, I'd been a dock technician. I knew every bolt, every chain, every trick to make a platform float a knot. What Lisa didn't know was that my dock was detachable, held by two underwater pins. I'd unlatched the anchors a week earlier for repairs and hadn't resecured them. It was tethered by just two ropes, ready to drift like a giant wooden raft. Lisa was throwing a gala on a floating tinderbox, and she had no clue. I retreated to my porch, brewed a fresh pot of coffee, and settled into my rocking chair. Rusty curled up beside me, sensing the calm before the storm. By afternoon, the dock was a Pinterest fantasy. Fairy lights, rented tables, a speaker system humming off a generator. Guests rolled up in golf carts, dressed like they were auditioning for a lakeside Vogue shoot. Nobody knocked on my door. Nobody asked. Sunset hit, and a breeze tugged at the ropes. The music kicked in. Some cheesy pop anthem, and Lisa grabbed a microphone, preaching about community and generosity. Then it happened. One rope slipped, then the other. The dock drifted, slow at first, like a sleepy giant waking up. 5 minutes passed before a kid shouted, "We're floating." Laughter turned to gasps. A wine glass shattered. A table tipped. Chaos erupted. Lisa shrieked for an anchor, but nobody knew where to look. The DJ's speakers sparked and died. A guest tried to swim ashore, tripped over a floral arch, and took half the decor with him. From my porch, I waved and called, "Enjoy the lake." Lisa pointed, screaming about sabotage. I reminded her trespassing was illegal, even with cupcakes. She vowed to sue. I sipped my coffee and wished her luck. That night, kayaks and a grumpy neighbor's fishing boat hauled the party back to shore. The cake was never seen again, though Rusty and I found the plastic bride bobbing by the reeds the next morning, sparkler long gone. I thought that'd be the end, but Lisa was just warming up. The next day, golf carts rumbled up my path, 5 of them, carrying soggy gala guests glaring like I'd personally dunked them. Lisa stepped out, neck brace on, sunglasses perched, clutching her clipboard like a shield. "You've traumatized families," she declared. "That dock was unsafe. You endangered children and a pastor." I raised an eyebrow. "A pastor?" She snapped. "Yes, and you're liable." I pointed out she'd thrown a party on my private dock without permission. She brushed it off, claiming verbal approval from someone on my property. "I live alone," I said. She froze, then pivoted while VYing a folder. The HOA's filing a complaint. Negligence. Public endangerment. Federal waterway violations. I nearly choked on my coffee. The lake wasn't even HOA territory, that's why she wanted my dock. By afternoon, an HOA email blasted out, titled "Betrayal on the Lake." Lisa painted herself as a hero essay, VYing stranded guests, while I laughed like a cartoon VY lane. She claimed I'd sabotaged the dock on purpose. The HOA forum exploded. Some neighbors bought her story. Others asked how she'd accessed my dock. A few pointed out my land was outside HOA control. Lisa called them disloyal. Then came the legal notice, taped to my gate. A lawsuit for emotional distress, sabotage, and failure to disclose dock instability. I read it 3 times to make sure I wasn't dreaming. I took the papers to Ellen, a retired judge who lived down the road. She scanned them, her left eyebrow twitching. "Good news or great news?" she asked. "Surprise me," I said. "Good news. This is flimsy. Great news. I'd love to crush them in court." Ellen dove in, pulling property maps, drone footage of Lisa's crew trespassing, and video of me telling her no. Then a kid named Tim, an HOA junior assistant, showed up with a flash drive. He'd overheard Lisa's plans and didn't agree. The drive had emails pro-VYing. She'd never held a vote to use my dock. She'd ignored board objections, faked my approval, and doctored meeting notes. Ellen added a counterclaim for harassment and false litigation. Lisa, meanwhile, went full smear campaign. Flyers appeared in mailboxes, calling me Lake VY EUS menace. One had a photoshopped image of me scowling. Caption "Saw Dock Destroyer Saw." Rusty growled at it. I stayed quiet, letting the court date loom. Ellen, in her element, picked out a navy suit and practiced dramatic pauses like she was starring in a legal drama. The courthouse felt like a time capsule, all wood paneling and creaky benches. Lisa arrived in a neck brace, tissues in hand, trailed by a lawyer who looked like he'd learned law from YouTube. Ellen, with her leather briefcase labeled "Lisa's Lies," was ready. Lisa's lawyer claimed I'd let the dock float to humiliate the HOA, citing community trauma and a ruined purse. Ellen countered with facts. My land wasn't HOA property, no permission was given, and drone footage showed Lisa ignoring my protests. The judge paused the video, asking if that was Lisa's voice. She mumbled yes. Ellen dropped the emails from Tim. Pro-VYing Lisa acted alone. The judge asked if she had permission. Lisa claimed my gardener approved it. "I'm on my own lawn," I said. The room went silent. The judge dismissed the case, fined the HOA for wasting time, and sent Lisa's lawyer scurrying. Outside, Ellen high-fived me. A neighbor winked and said, "About time someone stopped her." Lisa didn't quit. She sent an unhinged HOA email claiming a biased judge and vowing an appeal. The board started cracking, members resigned, citing ethics. Neighbors spilled dirt. Lisa had bought patio furniture with HOA funds, bullied people into unneeded repairs. A parody account, Lisa of the Lake, posted mock quotes ending in "I'll sue." I fixed my dock, added new cleats, and ignored her Lexus circling my street. Then I found my mailbox smeared with red paint. Security footage caught Lisa, hooded and sneaky, tossing defaced flyers over my fence. Ellen urged me to press charges, but I wanted to see how far she'd go. The HOA, now led by Diane, a no-nonsense ex-principal, apologized and banned Lisa from events. Then a bombshell landed. A land survey I'd ordered showed my property line extended under part of the HOA clubhouse patio 6 feet of it, where Lisa held her precious meetings. I handed her the map. Her face turned crimson. "You can't claim land like that," she snapped. I said the county didn't lie and suggested she stop acting like she owned the place. Diane and the board VY cited, nervous. They asked about the survey. I said I wanted acknowledgement, maybe accountability. They left with a copy. At an emergency meeting, Diane announced a boundary re-VYEW. Lisa, stripped of power, yelled about property theft in the parking lot. The board uncovered more. Lisa had leased my land to a caterer for cash, pocketing it all. Fraud, plain and simple. I sent a letter demanding reimbursement for my land's use and Lisa's permanent HOA ban. The board agreed, paid me, and erased her from their ranks. One morning, Lisa walked onto my dock. No cameras, no tricks. She looked drained, not from sleepless nights, but from a crumbled empire. "I'm Leah VYing," she said. Maybe this place was never mine. She stared at the lake and walked away. Rusty didn't bark. 2 days later, MOVYing truck cleared her house. No goodbyes, just silence. The HOA planned a community event by the lake not on my dock. I agreed with a surprise. At sunset, I unveiled a wooden sign on a motorized platform. Saw Lisa's folly saw. The crowd roared. Neighbors snapped photos, not out of spite, but relief. That night, with Rusty by my side, the lake glowed under stars. Peace wasn't free, took a fight, a floating party, and a stubborn stand. But standing on my dock, wind in my face, I knew it was mine. Not just the wood or the land, but the quiet VY Tory of holding on until the truth drifted back where it belonged.